Hey, what's going on? My name is Brian Bauer. Today we have a new podcast and interview with somebody. If you don't know them now, you're gonna know them later, especially if you're in the guitar community on Instagram and YouTube and all that. Her name is Amber Debellis. She's been going real quick. At the moment of recording this intro, she has 17.4K followers. That's a lot of followers, growing really quick. She recently got endorsed by Jackson Guitars, which that's totally incredible. In this video, we talk about, all those things. And we also tackle a new topic to me for this channel. I like to give people the ability to talk about something that's very important to them, whether it's related to guitar or not. But you know what? I think that there's some valuable lessons in this one for anybody who's trying to put themselves out there into the world. Anyway, without further ado, let's get on with the interview. I think this one went very well. I had a lot of fun with this one. Let's get right to it. Hey, what's going on? My name is Brian Bauer, and today I got a new guest on the channel. Some of you, or a lot more of you, have probably heard of than you've probably heard of me. And either way, her name is Amber Debellis. How's it going?
It is going well. Thanks for having me.
Hey, no, thanks for coming on the channel. This is pretty cool. So Amber has been growing really quickly on Instagram recently. Now at almost, as of this recording, 16.9K followers, not subscribers, followers over on Instagram. Pretty crazy growth really in the last little while and such. And you've got some cool things happening. And I'm always looking for new guests, and sometimes they're bigger, sometimes they're smaller. Some people are growing quick, and it's cool. This, people sometimes do like to talk, and well, I know I do. So either way, we got you on the channel today, and here I am winging this. I haven't done this since I've done the one with Jack Wood. You know Jack. That's how I found out about you.
Heck yes.
Jack is awesome.
Yes.
He's like, yeah, check out Amber Debellis' Jackson guitar. I'm like, I don't know who that is. And anyway, well, here we are, new people. It's cool. So it's super fun, eh? So Amber, what's going on lately? Tell us what's up with you today.
Right. Oh, well, I mean, today I ate some cereal and then I hopped on here because I stayed up until 4 a.m. But other than that, I've got a gig that I did yesterday, which was a lot of fun. Been really nice being able to play for crowds again.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Since stuff is opening up.
Exactly.
Yeah, and also back in the studio to record videos for my Instagram lately, because that was not something I could do for a bit of time since my videographer was going through surgery.
Ooh, yeah, that doesn't help. Yeah, so you don't actually record in that room. You record somewhere else. I didn't know.
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. You do record somewhere else. I'm like, no, I do record here. Everything, a lot of the things I do are this room as well. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, you've been doing Instagram and all that stuff lately, and you got some pretty cool looking videos and stuff happening there. So that's growth on Instagram is always a hard thing, but you're managing to kind of exponentially grow right now. Like, you're not going to stop at 20. It's not going to go to 20K and just stop and plateau. So we know it's going to keep going. Either way. So in saying that, how long, you told me one day we were chatting, you're like, I worked in obscurity for 10 years. When did this pop off? Tell me how many years did it take for you to actually get discovered?
Well, getting discovered by Jackson, that took about 8 years. And now I've been playing for a little over 9 years.
Oh, wow.
And last summer, so the summer of 2021, I started playing when I was in college, when I was 18. And so in 2021, summer 2021, I posted a Guthrie Govan cover on his Facebook fan page, and Mike Tempesta from Jackson Guitars saw that and was like, hey, let me give you a Jackson guitar, be a Jackson, guitarist person. I'm like, of course, that sounds wonderful. I have no money and no guitars, and so that sounds great. And then even at that point, I had 200 followers, maybe, something like that on Instagram. And it took 6 months for me to work slowly from 200 to 1,000. And then last month, March, I just jumped from 1,000 to 10,000, and it's just continued to grow. So I'm at like you said, almost 17,000 now.
That's wild. And like, it must be just like constantly going off on your phone. Did you ever turn the notifications off?
I should. No, I don't. I don't turn them off.
Man, that is wild though. Like to go from there to there. So Mike is also from the band Power Man 5000, right? Am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he is.
Not super familiar, but I do know the name Power Man 5000. I mean, okay. So when it comes to getting an endorsement deal and stuff like that, how did it feel to be somebody like, hey, I want to send you some guitars? Like, and I don't mean some garbage company. Like, I mean a good one.
Right. No, I mean, like, the initial feeling was, this isn't real. This is some sort of scam. They're trying to get my credit card information or my address or something. So, like, legitimately the first couple days after Mike messaged me, I, like, went to all the people I know. I'm like, does this seem like a real thing? Because, like I said, I have 200 followers. I am nobody, so the idea that Mike Tempesta from Power Man 5000 is going to send me guitars doesn't make any sense to me at the time. And then once I, Googled him, and I'm like, okay, this would have to be the most elaborate scam of all time. They have, like, a whole LinkedIn page for this guy, like, that there's no way. So message him, ask him for, the guitars and stuff, and, they give me a couple options, and I send, what I think would be cool my way, and at that time, I was, like, really into Charvel guitars, actually, which is, like, part of Jackson to
yes,
an extent
it is.
or something, partnered with him, and I was like so close to like I'm thinking I have like a $100 Court guitar, which is like third-party brand. Most people don't even know they exist and stuff. And I liked that guitar and everything, but it cost $100. The frets are all bent and like tiny, and it's like and so I'm thinking, okay, I need something else so that I can feel like I'm a professional. I am good at guitar. And I'm like, I can't justify spending $1,000 on one of these Charvels. I'm going to die. I need to pay rent and stuff. And then just out of nowhere, the universe, Mike Tempesta, is like, hey, here's your guitar now instead. I'm like, sold. And so I had no qualms. I'm like, I am a Jackson guitarist now, especially after getting the particular guitar, which people who watch my videos have seen, that black and white guitar that I've got with like the wood grain and everything, and it's like literally the perfect guitar for the exact kind of music that I do. So I'm like all about it.
That's super cool. I actually saw one of those at a store, and the reason being with Jackson's owned by Fender guitars these days, and you can find a few of like the lower end. You don't get the USA Jacksons around here in the stores too much. You'd have to order that in. I saw one, so next time I go back and they have one, I'll try that one out. That's super cool. And you have a white one as well. Whoa. And it's got a
I do,
Floyd Rose. Yeah. And how do you like that? How do you like the Floyd Rose?
God, that one is really cool. I'm not in love with Floyd Roses simply because I am not at the point now where, so for example, one of the strings broke on it recently, like a week ago. And so I have to go over to a place and have a professional set it up. And I don't have a car right now, so that's not happening. If I knew how to do it myself, I'd be like, oh, heck yes. When it's set up and I can play it, oh my god, I love the guitar.
Oh yeah.
And it has like the JB and jazz pickups in it, and so it's like, I love Megadeth, that's the pickups they used for Rust in Peace, and so I'm like, I like this tone. But right now the tone is, I can't play the guitar. So, pros and cons.
Yes. Okay. Floyd Roses. I remember when I got my first guitar with a floating trem, which is not even as S series. It doesn't have the knife edges. It has the ball bearings. I don't actually use the whammy on that one at all. And I remember the first string change was like, what do I do? This is terrifying. The saddle was locked. I called a tech, and they're like, take a little like something and just pop it. I'm like, okay. And eventually, after many times, I feel confident enough to take a Floyd Rose off the guitar, put it back on, restring it, and get it set up. But it's taken years. That was probably 2007, when I started that one, and I got to take my Ibanez RG apart. And since we're talking about this topic, I got to take my Ibanez RG apart because there's knife edges, and you got to keep them sharp. By the way, sometimes I don't know if it's the posts or something, but when they're set up right, they stay in tune amazing, and they need to come back to the 0 point when you do a dive or flutter or you lift up on it. And when it's set up right, and how I figured out that my RG really didn't work is I had a Jackson as well that somebody had sent to me, my buddy Kevin, and it was a stealth. It was the pre-fender made in Japan Jacksons. There's a video on the channel, and that didn't have like an OFR Floyd. It had some sort of licensed Jackson Floyd. It was awesome. That guitar was super good. It's an old school one. I would change some things about it. Like, it wasn't quite for me, but it was a really good guitar. And once you realize how like the balance between springs and strings work, you'll get it. When you take it to the pro,
hopefully,
when you take it to your tech or whoever it is that knows how to do it, and make sure they know how to do it. Get them to show you how. If they're cool people, they'll show you. Just pay attention to doing that. There's lots of YouTube content out there on that kind of thing, but you don't. Basically, it needs to be like, flat and not sticking up or being too far down. It sounds. Floyd Rose is scarier than it sounds. The one thing that's still messing with me. You ever tried an Evertune?
No, never tried one.
So it's easier to restring and stuff, but it's like I'm still trying to wrap my head around the concept of changing the tunings on them. But I'm not doing that. I have one taken apart over there. The strings, not taken apart, but the strings are off of it on my Solar 7 string because I want to record. And I was like, I need some oil at fretboard and stuff. But it's kind of strange because you see the whole bridge, like all the saddles fall back, and it's kind of scary to people, I think, when they don't know. They're like, is that normal? Is that normal? It's like, yes, it is, because when you put the tension back on them, they come forward. So there's weird zones with them, like the tuners. To explain to you, the tuners themselves, when you tighten them up, you get it up to pitch, and it'll stay at pitch for a while, but it won't bend. Like, you can bend the string, but the pitch won't change. The saddle will adjust to keep it there. And then you get to the next zone, as all of a sudden you'll hear the pitch go up, and you roll it back, and then you're in the bend zone. So you can actually set up every saddle to bend or not bend. So some people like their bottom three, like the E, A, and D on a 6 string, to not bend because their rhythms stay in tune when they're recording them or just playing them, and they'll keep the G, B, and E in the bend zones. That's depends on who you're talking to. I like them all in the bend zones. I'm old school, I guess, but it's a really weird concept too, because it also has like springs and stuff. But I think you'll be good with the Floyd. I think you'll figure out the Floyd Rose. The main thing is you just gotta have an I can attitude, not an I can't attitude. And probably pull a few hairs out in the process. Because sometimes it's still like, hey, look at me, I'm bald. As you can tell, I had some Floyd Rose problems. Nah, I'm just messing. Nah, that's super cool. Anyway, that's super awesome of you that you got that Jackson endorsement. And if you can convince them to get you a Charvel sometime, their necks are amazing. I promise. Anyway, you had a $100 quart. Did you get that used somewhere?
Yes.
And
I did indeed.
And it was beat to hell.
Oh. It was beat to hell. I mean, apparently, so one of the things that was wrong with it was also modified. So it had some Ibanez pickup in the bridge for some reason. Yeah, like an Ibanez V8.
Okay, yeah. I think I got, if they had V7 and V8, I don't remember what one was the bridge pickup, because the guitar would have had that has a DiMarzio in it when I got it. The V8 pickups, I think were okay. I hate the INF pickups. And to the person who said I'm an idiot for not liking those, go try them. They're the muddiest things on friggin' earth. No, I hate them. And The V8, I had a V7 for a while. I don't remember it being so bad, but I replaced that with a PAF Pro.
Well, the V8, the main issue with it on my court is that it had a tremolo bar, and so the spacing on the strings is slightly different, and whoever modified the court had an improperly sized bridge pickup. So I had to get that replaced. Yeah, and I got the bridge replaced, and the tech who worked on it was like, yeah, for some reason when I opened up the guitar, it was just full of sawdust and stuff. So I'm like, oh, yeah, and apparently, like, the screws and stuff in there were, all rusted and stuff. So, like, the bridge actually doesn't, like, stay flush with the guitar. It, like, pops out a lot of the time. And so there was a lot wrong with that guitar. I loved it, and at the time, when I didn't have cool Jackson guitars sent to me, and I didn't have pedals or anything, it was just me, my $100 guitar, and gigging at dive bars, And so at that point, I'm like, I don't need good gear. A tone is all in the fingers. If I could play this guitar, once I get a good guitar, I could do anything. Don't worry.
The accent there is amazing.
I just had to convince myself.
That was funny. Yeah, you know what? I bet once you got the good Jacksons, you played better.
I did. I'm sure you as a guitar person know, and anyone who's watching this knows that there's all those people on the internet who are like, it doesn't matter what guitar you have. If you know how to play guitar, you know how to play guitar, bro. It's not true. I'm so sorry. It's not. Yeah.
Gear has to work to start with. There's a certain point. So there's a certain point where it's preference based. Somebody's gonna like an Ibanez.
Yes.
Someone's gonna like a Jackson. Someone's gonna like a Fender. If they're all good guitars, they're going to work for different purposes or different people. But if you got a piece of junk, it is going to hinder you. This is just facts. Tone is somewhat how you play. Sometimes you try those. You ever try those preset tones somebody has in something? You'll get some modeler or something, and you're like, oh, I'll sound like and such. And you ever noticed you just sound like yourself? You're like close, but then you just still sound like you. Yeah. So it's in the hand some, but the pickups, the guitar matters. If the guitar is like right for you, it's right for you. So like really, Mike I don't know how to say his Tempesta. How do I say it? Mike Tempesta.
I think it's Mike Tempesta.
Oh, Tempesta. Well, sorry, Mike. I don't know you, but either way. So he's kind of like your angel. He's like your guardian angel looking out for you. He's like, Amber, you need better instruments than this. But hey, you were playing Guthrie Govan on $100 court.
Yes.
Court is something. The Court makes a lot of guitars, though. They actually are a company that has like a lot of factories. So although I've been seeing Court kicking around more, like the actual brand name has been around more these days. But they've always been around. I don't know who paid them to do things, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did some of the bigger brands like Schecter and stuff too. So they're around, and I don't know who makes the Jackson imports, but there's Jacksons that are made in Japan again now. Jackson's made in the U.S. And I mean, now you're getting into big money. You're getting the American-made Jacksons and stuff. So you really like Charvel's. So I want to take a shot at, of all your favorite guitars, is your favorite guitars Jackson, or what is it?
Well, like, my favorite guitar to play right now is definitely my black and white DK Modern. Just because it has, like, multiple voice settings and stuff, and like I said, like, personally, I'm in the Van Alien Book Club, and we have a very eclectic sound, and so the fact that it can be like, hey, Telecaster mode, I'm like, fantastic, and then it can be like a gnarly lead tone, that's good, it can be soft jazz tones, it can be clear stuff for when I play slide guitar, so I like that a lot.
That's cool.
But, for most of my guitar life, I was very into, so like my Cort guitar is like a wood grain guitar. That was like the aesthetic I wanted. And so like Guthrie Govan is like also playing those wood grain Charvels, and I'm like, yes! Or Tom Quayle from Ibanez, and stuff like that. Yep. So Dream guitar is like a Guthrie Govan Charvel, but right now I am very satisfied with the Jacksons that I've got.
That's awesome. I don't know why, but you said Telecaster mode. I'm like Amber Debellicaster mode. That's what it should be. Debellicaster.
Oh!
New mashup of words. Yeah, no. And so speaking of which, we didn't actually touch this at the first of the video. I'm a really terrible interviewer, apparently. But you did just mention you're at a band called Alien Book Club. And Alien Book Club, for those who have not heard them, it's a different ride. And I want you to maybe introduce that band or explain a little bit to us and recommend a few songs. Just tell us about the band and stuff and what you do in it.
Okay. Yeah, well... Minneapolis-based band, very eclectic, like I said. There's a lot of influences, and they're more like motivational influences or mindset influences. Like, we don't really sound like Frank Zappa, but Frank Zappa is a huge part of the foundation of the band, and it's the idea of kind of just having fun with it, mixing up weird genres. So, like, you mentioned before we started the interview, like, there's the song Angela off of our new album, which starts off with, like, this Latin-y bossa nova bit, and then it moves into, like, thrash metal, and so obviously that's a lot of fun. We've got songs that start out sounding like Vampire Weekend, and then end up sounding like extreme death metal and stuff, and so we've got quite a bit of variety in there, and, like, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's also part of why I've become a better guitarist than I used to be, is being forced to play things that aren't just metal guitar solos.
Yeah, and one of the things when I checked out Alien Book Club, I was like, although it didn't strike me as a metal name or anything like that, I knew of you as, like, this shredder on Instagram. Like, you like Jeff Loomis, you like Guthrie Govan, and especially Marty Friedman. We can't ignore the fact that you love Marty Friedman, and Marty's amazing. But then I listened to that, I'm like, whoa, that's completely different. But I think that's cool that it's completely different than something else, because it just adds more to the aura that is you. And then it kind of gives the band an interesting kind of thing too. It makes it, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, do you know Mr. Bungle, the band? We chatted about this. Do you know Mr. Bungle, the Mike Patton band?
Just a little bit.
That's what it reminded me of, just a little bit. And I think I just default to Mr. Bungle because that's just my default avant-garde band. And while they're back now playing metal, they're playing more of a thrash metal with Scott Ian of Anthrax. He's also a Jackson endorser too. But the Mr. Bungle I knew was avant-garde, because the first song I heard was "Everyone I Went to High School With Is Dead." How appropriate. And it was singing monotone. It's like, oh, another summer rolls by, and the whole album goes from like jazz to metal. And just look up Platypus sometime. You know what I'm talking about. They have some good stuff. But that's what that's what, like, your band reminded me of. It's like a little bit of that style. I'm like, and it's cool. People can say whatever they want about that style of music, but to go between genres within a song is not an easy thing to do. And not everybody could do something like that. Like, you'd have to be able to go from this type of rhythm to this style of playing. It's not an easy feat. Most people are kind of stuck in a genre.
No.
They're stuck playing whatever, like campfire songs or something. Yeah. How do you find that? Like, how long did it take you to adjust to that?
It definitely took me a bit of time. So when I first joined Alien Book Club, they needed a new lead guitarist, and obviously I could play lead and stuff like that, but I genuinely couldn't hold down a rhythm very well, like to a metronome or to the beats. I couldn't improvise very well because I was very shy and scared. And like one of the first things they asked me to do was learn slide guitar, which I had never played, never really listened to. And so I started doing that. And like, for example, we have a song called I Can Hear Your TV off of our new album.
I saw that listed.
And, you know, it starts off, yes, and it starts off and I have to play like these really atmospheric, reverb-heavy lines with like the volume knob swells. And then it goes into the slide guitar country stuff. And then it breaks into a funk bit where I still have the slide on and I have to start doing the funk bit with the free fingers that I've got. And then I have to go back into the slide guitar immediately afterwards. So, yeah, there was a lot of development to get it there, but it's fun to be there now.
But the main thing is that you are there now. You made it. It wasn't like you're not faking it till you make it. You made it there. You can do it and such. Now, since you do Alien Book Club, what about, do you do any solo kind of music? Have you written any songs just for you, or is everything for the band right now?
Right now, everything is for the band. There are some other projects that I'm part of, or, you know, I do a little bit of session work here and there, but, like, when it comes to my own content, right now, that's primarily just my Instagram content, maybe making a solo for, like, Jam Track Central, Jam of the Month, or something like that.
Yes.
But I do want to start doing some sort of solo stuff, hopefully this year, once that makes sense for me financially.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people don't realize it costs money to buy even these plugins and all that stuff to do that stuff too. So we've already kind of been there. So like Alien Book Club stuff, who are your personal like influences? Like what got you started playing guitar anyway? Who influenced or inspired you to play?
Well, so when I was a kid, I loved Guitar Hero, would play that with my siblings. Guitar Hero 2, Freebird, or like Beast in the Harlot by Avenged Sevenfold, Hangar 18 by Megadeth. There were just a lot of songs that I thought, like, wow, these are super cool. Or, you know, Guitar Hero 3, Dragon Force, Through the Fire and Flames. You know, I grew up thinking, wow, this stuff is super cool. I didn't really think, like, oh, this stuff is super cool. I'm going to have a guitar and be able to do that someday. It was just stuff that I found cool, and that was the, like, foundation. And then in the summer between high school and college for me, my best friend was like, hey, I got this game called Rocksmith. I have a guitar, I'm going to start trying to learn guitar. And I'm like, okay, you know what, I will do that too. So January of my freshman year of college, I started playing Rocksmith, started learning guitar. And at first I was really just trying to learn guitar solos I thought was cool, Crazy Train, Metallica stuff. And then eventually that moved up into like 3 months into playing guitar, I was like, I'm going to try to learn Hangar 18, and obviously did not go well. But, like, I have been, like, banging my head against the wall for my entire career, essentially, just, like, going way past what should be possible for me at the time, and eventually it has worked out. But, yeah, I think I was just a little overly ambitious and a little ignorant of how difficult some of this stuff is, which I like to think that's how I've gotten to the place I'm at, which is just my brain isn't large enough for me to comprehend that I shouldn't be able to do some of this stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know, but it was large enough to get there. So, and you know what? A lot of it is, it's just being determined and being too stubborn to quit. I think that's the bigger thing, is that a lot of people just give up. They say, like, I'm going to do this thing.
Yes.
Big words, big ambitions for 5 minutes. Wake up the next day, I'm going to play Halo and drink Monster Energy drink and smoke dope, and I'm not going to do anything else with my life. And so you obviously had the dedication to get there. So I think the way to go about it is, things may be difficult for now, but if you keep at it, they're not so difficult as you keep going. Because what was hard 2 years ago is not hard, probably not as difficult to you now. So it's
no, for sure. And I think also a big part of it is branching outside of metal, outside of my one genre that I used to do for the first like 6-7 years of playing guitar. Learning how to play jazz and learning how to lock into a basic rhythm as a rhythm guitarist is stuff that has helped me be able to play Tornado of Souls better, you know? Like, there are just all these other ways of approaching guitar that if you look at it, you know, with how is this helping me in general, everything you learn should be helping you get to where you want to be. Exactly.
Now, that's a good way to go about that one, too. So, wise words from Amber right there, you know. Yeah, I mean, guitar playing is just, it's a hard thing. I consider you a better shredder than me. I've been playing for like 19 years almost. You've been playing for 9. So yeah, I started when I guess I'm a little older, but it sounds of things. And I started when I was about 15 and now I'm 34. So there we go. And sometimes it's like, to explain that, when you see sometimes people that are better, they're like, well, I've only played for such amount of years. It's because they practiced that thing correctly. Sometimes I did not practice those things correctly. And I've been in lessons a little bit, and I learned that, holy crap, I need to learn some new stuff. And you know who does good lessons? Well, Jack Wood, but you do lessons too, don't you?
Oh, yes, I do, yes.
I remembered. Yeah, so if anybody...
yeah, no, I've...
You can plug yourself right now. That's what you're here to do. Plug yourself.
Okay.
You can be like,
hey guys, I teach lessons on the internet.
Pay me. No, pay me and I'll just send you to her. No, don't pay me.
Sure, finder's fee. But
no, I'm not taking that.
What I will say though is that I've been teaching for a while. I actually like teaching a lot.
Sweet.
Guitar teaching, it hasn't been what I've been doing the whole time. There was a while where I was teaching like kindergarten age kids, just like in general how to read and stuff, so that was fun. And then eventually I had to work my way up to kindergarten age kids that will learn about music to people who want to play guitar. So it took a while to get there, but yeah, hey, from the very foundations of how to teach a human being, Amber knows, so I can help you out.
There you go. That's how we do a plug around here. No, I love these kind of corny plugs. I talk in the corny language all the time. It's like, hey guys, it's like, you trying to play guitar? Are you trying to be cool in life? Well, you better take some guitar lessons and some lessons on how to be cool. And the only way to be cool is to play guitar. I don't know. You can go on whatever things like, warning, guitar may include loss of hair or limbs. I was trying not to make a Simpsons reference. I avoided it, but either way, are you a Simpsons fan?
Yes.
Yeah, I love the Simpsons.
Not as much as the rest of the Alien Book Club people. They are dedicated religious followers of the Simpsons.
But only up to season 12. You know what I'm saying? I can tell when there's like lag and zoom. I'm like,
oh yeah.
It's just like what I said wasn't funny, and then the reaction's like so many seconds later. I'm like, okay, it's like remote thing problems. This is how it goes. All right.
Oh, okay.
Your last reel on Instagram, as of this moment, it was you unboxing a new amp.
Yes.
It was a 5150 combo. How's that? Mm-hmm. How are you enjoying that amp so far?
Fantastic. I am loving it because I've got, it has a foot switch, it has multiple channels. Again, as someone who plays multiple different kinds of music, it's nice to be like, here's the clean channel. I can play slide guitar on that. I could turn on my, overdrive, and then it'll be a little bit crunchier. I can push the button, change the channel to the EVH, like, distorted channel, which is pretty distorted, and so it's like, I can do a bunch of stuff. It's loud. So before this, I was using a Vox AC15, which is definitely a cool amp for a specific kind of music, but it was definitely not the amp for Amber, who needed more variety and also just more gnarliness to the amp.
Yes.
And so I am loving it quite a bit. It is genuinely also, and that was sent to me by my holy guardian angel, Mike Tempesta. So thank you, Mike.
It's like Mike. I don't know. Mike sounds like the man, though. It's like
100%.
As long as we don't have like a creepy shrine of Mike, it's like in our houses we're doing pretty good. And I did go to a McDonald's.
Sure.
I did go to a McDonald's in Korea once, and it looked like they had a little Ronald McDonald shrine. Though that was weird. It wasn't like that, but it was just. It was a different McDonald's. It was a good McDonald's. They had a good sandwich there.
I bet.
Okay, well, that was way off topic for the amps. So now you got that. My question is, so that amp has a record out, did you say at one point? It has a recording
yes, it does.
out feature? Yep. Okay. So how like... So before you had that amp, you had the Vox AC15. Is that a tube amp or a modeling amp? Just forgive my ignorance. I don't actually know.
Tube amp.
It is okay. That is one of the little tube amps. I'm used to the AC30, so I don't know a lot about Vox. They do modeling things, but I wasn't sure. So how were you recording your guitars before? Were you using that Vox amp to record, or were you using plugins, or how do you record? Tell us about that.
Right. Okay, so in the past, for like Alien Book Club, something like that, I would use the Vox. We would mic it up, and just do the best we could with our home studio. But when it came to my, older videos, people who know me, or if you go and scroll through my Instagram, you'll see that recently there's a bunch of cool stuff, and then eventually it'll just get to like me in this room, like with a tapestry behind me sitting down, and I was playing through Amplitude. And just using Reaper and everything like that, and Amplitude 5 demo, because that's what I needed to use. And now that I have the EVH, and I'm going to a studio run by my friend Lorenzen, who is music producer, musician here in the Twin Cities.
Sweet.
And she, for some reason, is like, hey, here, come over to my studio, let me record you doing stuff, let me help you out in a lot of different ways. And it's like, okay, thank you, for some reason this is happening. And so, now I bring over the amp and we hook it up, and it sounds really good. A lot. Not to diss Amplitude, but I certainly like the sound of an amp going through and playing that. And so while Amplitude has served its purpose for me quite a lot and continues to do so, it is nice to be recording with real physical equipment and be recording in an actual studio with an actual person who knows how to record video, knows how to, make everything look and sound nice and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that is a huge reason that I've had this Instagram blow up, is because the videos just look so much better than they used to, and the sound quality is so much better than it used to be. So that just, it's not like I wasn't playing cool stuff before, it's just now Instagram is so visual. Everything's so visual these days. So it helps to
you're
have
right.
that.
Yo, it absolutely does. But number one is that you were good and have value, that when you get that production there, it does bump it up. That's the big thing, is that while there's a lot of great guitar players out there who can pick up, very few of them I find can pick up just with the phone and do videos, except Eating Cave Evan. You know Eating Cave Evan on Instagram? No. Okay, I don't know if he's posting these days much, but he's this amazing shredder, and he only ever uses the audio from his phone. And so people are like, yeah, you have he has the skill to warrant that. But you know why he did that instead of production? Because when he was producing the videos, people told him he was faking it all the time. And I don't think he ever mimed a video in his life. Maybe he has. I don't know. Evan's a wonderful guy, though. Absolutely amazing player. But in saying that, you said something about Instagram and being visual. It's so absolutely true. like you have to have like I wanted to do a video on this on just how I do videos. It's up to criticism. It's open for criticism. Let's put it that way. If I was to do it, but you can't. Generally speaking, most of us are probably not going to go anywhere with having just camera audio terrible like angles and stuff, you know, like if there's up angle at your face or something, and expect that people are going to care.
Yes.
And then in my case, the majority of people still don't see the videos, even if you do produce them. I do think, I don't know, you can say this, if you can criticize this if you want, but I think once in a while you're allowed to still make a camera audio video and say, whatever, this is cool, and put it out. And I think in stories, I still think I think stories are still a good place for no edit garbage video. Even just to show something. I still think stories are perfect.
100%.
But
I mean, like, I'll post videos of me, like, shredding and such on my stories and whatnot. And before the recent reel that you were talking about, there was a just raw room audio video I put up of solo I tried to record and did not succeed with, just because that's when the string on the Floyd Rose broke on video, so you can see that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. I try to interact with most of the videos of people who are interacting with me and stuff too, and every so often just get overburdened with other things in life, and it's just like going through your phone. It's like, okay, I don't have time to respond to this right now, and I feel sometimes bad when I don't, but it's like priorities. But yeah, video production, massive thing people need for YouTube and stuff right now, and that's super cool that somebody's actually helping you out, because one thing that you got in your videos that's working really well is you have movement, and all your Instagram reels and stuff is that somebody's moving around with the camera, and like, it gives that feel. Do you video edit yourself? Do you do the video editing?
I put the video in the video editor. I color grade the content, and then I, ship it out. But there's actually not too much that I need to do on my end, because Ro, is already just doing that stuff and everything, and there's not too much more to it than that. Yeah.
And one of the things I've been doing for make Instagram reels, so these new ones, I'm gonna post some old stuff because reels are thing. I have a mixer, which weirdly enough works great into a phone. I've been struggling with streaming with it. I've been just doing that, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do something in my phone. It's simple, just cut it up in Instagram and put it out. I've done that a handful of times. I'm a little behind because videos, some of these, I don't know about you. But do you ever find that sometimes it's a lot of work for one little video?
Certainly. Especially back when I used to do videos here, it's just me by myself, and so the whole, like, spending way too much time trying to get a single good take, like the perfect take kind of thing, was an issue that I had, and I know a lot of people have that issue, and that's probably why some people end up miming or end up, or end up like speeding up their videos or something, and stuff like that. But these days, I'm in the studio and Ro is video recording me, and so maybe Ro would be cool, like, okay, yeah, take 58, Amber, go ahead, don't worry. But I'm like, nah, if it takes more than 4 or 5 takes, like, it almost never gets there. Like, a lot of the time it's just 2 or 3 now, because I'm forced to be able to do the takes there. So that helps a lot for that, actually.
Yeah, and it's probably not driving someone insane with take 58.
Exactly.
All right, it's like, we're going to get a take 60 here soon. And it's like, don't worry, new record on the horizon. Sometimes, I don't know about you, sometimes like you could almost write the first time and you're like, oh no, it's not perfect. And you try to do it like 10 more times and then it doesn't work. It's hard. Being a guitar player on Instagram is hard, or anything on Instagram is hard. I'm not even going to just say guitar players. I'm going to say anyone on Instagram that is trying to do something, because we have this idea of everybody's perfect lives and perfect this, that, and everything else. And you're like, well, I can't do that. How do you feel about, like, you're growing on Instagram now, and I'm sure like you're on the end where people are like, holy crap, Amber's amazing. But for you, how does it feel for you to be on Instagram and you see other people? Do you ever find there's like, do you ever feel like you sometimes just feel inadequate watching somebody else play? It's just like seem amazing. Does that ever happen to you? Like, you're just like, okay.
Certainly back in the day, I would say, but I'm at the point now, and I think this has helped me get to where I am, but it's like, if I watch, so for example, just like Steven Taranto, hopefully that's how you say his name, he is just an insane guitarist, wild, and he does like the raw camera audio, and it's like you hear like every clack of the pick. And it's just like, that's amazing. I cannot play like that. I do not have that accuracy. But I'm not like, I should just throw my Instagram away. It's like, I'm okay that what I'm doing is different from other people. And yeah.
And, okay, with Steve, he's honest, though. We know for a fact that he's honest with what he's doing. Because there's other people out there that's like, man, I'm not going to, there's just a name I was thinking. I'm not going to call it out because I still think that the guy is really, really, really good. But it's just, it almost feels inhuman a few times. But I just wonder, when I see some people that like, especially some of the people that like have gotten big, I'm like, are you actually playing that? Because the way... when you play, I can tell you're actually playing your stuff. But some things like, I do music videos sometimes too, and you mime music videos. That's just how it goes. You always mime a music video. Sure. And but a lot of my stuff is raw, but every so often you get something that's in there that's mimed too. But I just wonder, like, when people do that and fix it all up and do all this stuff, and now with program bass, I mean, we all program drums, program bass and all that stuff. What level of people are like, when they hear something that's human, they're just like, oh, that's not very tight, blah, blah, blah. It's like when that other person has programmed bass, programmed drums, record it in tiny little pieces, all this stuff, and can they actually play it? That's what I question. And sometimes you're just like, oh man, I'm not that good. And it's like, wait, maybe they're not either. Maybe I think maybe there is also some value in posting things with mistakes.
I 100% agree, especially with that last point, and that's actually something I'm trying to do more often now. So one of my friends, Cassandra Johnson, has this thing that she's been hosting called Friday Riff Day, which is kind of similar to the one riff a day that She Shreds Media does. I don't know if your viewers will be too familiar with that, but it's more of like a female and non-binary, like... associated and demographic for guitar players, and a lot of that energy is like, hey, where are you with your guitar for real? Like, what are you playing? I just want to see that because I think it's cool. And other people who are in more of my space, where it's like you're trying to show people how good you are, you're trying to be professional, like, I have people in my DMs who are like, this is killing me. This is killing me trying to keep up with these videos and produce them and get the good takes. And it's really rough. And so I think we all should be putting out videos that are not always perfect, because otherwise we're kind of killing ourselves, and we're putting out an image that's going to make other people feel like they have to do the same thing. And there are people like what you're talking about, where it's like, sometimes you see a video and you're like, I play guitar enough to know that this video is not real, that this video is sped up or it's mimed, and sometimes I can deal with a little bit of miming from other people where I'm just like, sure. But when like full on speeding it up, or where it's like not just like correcting something, but just like a full on, like, you recorded it slow and then you like mimed it slow and everything, just... The place where stuff can get, it's like that's the most toxic kind of guitar playing out there, personally, for me.
Exactly. Oh, man. You know what actually would turn me off from doing that? Is that it's more work to friggin' edit. After a while, you're like, I like editing like videos and stuff, but my editing of videos is not speeding up guitar playing. It's just I like sometimes actually editing video. Like, I do enjoy it once I'm in the process of doing that. Yeah. It's fun, but I'm thinking more from the perspective of like a YouTuber, like a Peter McKinnon or a Matty Hapoya. I like those guys on YouTube. They're all like cinematographer, like photography guys, cinematography guys. And I like doing photography too. And it's some of that stuff, it's fun. It's fun to do. But if I had to sit there, I'm going to be honest, like I don't know how to edit a DI to move it to a grid. I don't know how to do it. So if I suck, I just suck. Although I know the odd person that has tried to produce my stuff has moved things or done stuff, but I just never learned how to do it. I'm just like, well, here you go, because no band playing live is that accurate ever. All right. This is where a topic that I don't know a whole lot about, but I think this is something that you can attest to very well. It's now being out there in social media in the guitar world, you are kind of like one of the role models, I would say, for trans people out there. I'd say for anybody, because you're a killer guitar player. But this is a topic that's really, it's not something I can relate to, and this is really to help those people. And I know that they're out there who are trans, who kind of need a role model or trying to get out there into the world. How has that been for you in like entering like the guitar world, like, and especially in Instagram and social media? Like, what's the experience been like for you? I'm feeling like it's been mostly positive, but social media has its negative points too. And I saw a story you posted the other day, and somebody said they were happy that you existed because it was inspiring to them. It gave them the confidence. Maybe you could tell us something about like that. It doesn't have to be in relation to guitar. This can be for anybody. If anybody watches my videos, that I don't know. I'm bad at explaining this topic because I can't relate. I'm not even gonna pretend I know anything about it. So maybe I'm gonna let you take the floor on this one. So tell us about this.
Sure. Well, thank you. I would say, just to go through my personal story a little bit, like, when I first started doing this, I was pretty shy about my, identity and stuff, and while I wasn't trying to, like, disguise it or anything, it just wasn't something that I'm like, this is who I am, like, I want you to know that. I was just like, I'm gonna focus on guitar, and I'm just gonna be a good guitarist, and that's what I want people to think about Amber when they think about Amber, is Amber's good at guitar. And sometimes, people know when they see me and sometimes they don't. And like, for example, when I got the Jackson endorsement, I don't think they knew. And then eventually I messaged them back and I'm like, hey guys, like, how many other, trans women are there doing this, and I think I am the first one. And so it's really cool to be able to have that. And now that I've been doing this more and gaining more popularity, I do feel more and more responsible, in a sense, to like put myself out there, because I think it's just people who come from where I am, right, where it's like there's people who have similar experiences and they just, people are rude to them, and it's hard to let go of those things and see anything else, especially when it's like those kinds of people come to find you, where you, like, I'm sure anyone who plays guitar, if you put yourself out there, that trolls are going to come out for you, and just like, if you're playing all this crazy metal stuff, they're going to tell you have no soul. If you're playing good blues, they're going to tell you don't know how to play the guitar, etc.
Yep.
And so no matter what, those people will come to find you. And especially if you're like a woman, I've seen like Kate Devin, if you know her, she like helped set up a female shred collaboration recently.
Okay.
Super cool guitarist, very cool person, does a lot of charity work.
Cool. And
it's like people will just come to her videos and just be like, well, you're not the best guitar player in the world, so you suck and you should stop playing or whatever. And people say that to me, like where it's like, oh, you don't even hold, like, because I hold the guitar like old-fashioned, like Joe Satriani, Yngwie Malmsteen style, and there are people who go like, you don't even know how to hold a guitar. And it's like, of all the things, you don't
know how to be a decent human being, so maybe you should, reevaluate yourself. And it's like, hey,
and that's just like, yeah. Sorry, that's just like as a woman, and then the further down you go, the rabbit hole of things that people can make fun of you for and insult you for, the more you're going to find those people. And I'm saying all this to be like, when you're coming from that space, there are people who are in a place where I am, where they're just afraid of anyone who's not in a similar space as them, because all they know is getting bullied by people. And I'm really happy to be doing what I'm doing, because when I've needed help, you know, my followers have stood up for me, and some of my followers are like, yeah, you know, I'm from like rural West Virginia, and I didn't know that you were trans, but you know what, I still think you're cool. And like, I have a lot of stories like that where it's just like people who are either, like you said, like going like, hey, thank you for doing this because it makes me feel more confident about myself. And I love that. And I also love that I'm able to do something where people who, you know, like you're not a trans woman. There are people out there who are just like, I'm a guy, I play guitar. And those people are also like, when they just enjoy the content enough, and I am trying to branch out and reach out and build bridges for myself, for other people at this point. Like, that is more and more something that is important to me, you know? And I'm glad and I'm grateful, for example, that you have given me this space to talk about it, because I do think it's important. And just a little bit longer, because I have so much to say about this topic, so just a little bit more.
No,
there
keep going.
is also this sort of idea. Oh, well, thank you. I get self-conscious about talking, but there is this point where people are like, oh, well, why do people need to know that you're trans? You know, what about, it's just about the music? And it's like, I used to be there. I get it. You know, like, I am trying to be about the music. But the point of being like, hey, I am trans and I am doing this. I am, you know, Asian, Filipino, a person of color, and I'm doing this. It's not to be like, so you should care. It's more like, so people like me have something to look up to. Because like me growing up, you know, the part of the trans experience is being like, I don't want to be trans, because the only ideals or visions of that is like, for example, I'm watching Archer. Love Archer. Yeah. Most of the time, if anything trans comes up, it's like, Lana's a transvestite because she has big hands, and that's funny. And it's like, I like the show, but that's like everything. Or like, as a Filipino person, right? It's like, Filipino hookers, or like Thai hookers from like Hangover 2 or something, right? And it's like, then if you're like, that's all I get to see about people like me, then you're like, I'm okay with just not being me. I'll just do something else. And that makes people, you know, kill themselves and stuff, you know, not to be too dour and serious, but it's like,
it happens.
Anything I can do, it does. And so I'm happy that I'm able to do something where people are like, okay, there's a positive role model. And more there are positive role models, you know? Mm-hmm. And like, I'm in a band, like Anita, the front person of Alien Book Club, is a trans woman, and she's putting herself out there more and more as well, and putting herself out there within the trans community. Like, I'm more just like broad community stuff, but there are also people out there who are doing stuff for those specific groups, and I think that's beautiful and wonderful too. And just, again, thank you for letting me talk about that. I don't know if I have too much more to say on it, but yeah.
No, that's totally cool. And the reason I like to talk about something that not just about guitars and stuff when I'm doing these. If somebody has something like to talk about, like Rudy Ayub, he talked about being a vegan. We talked about that. I'm not a vegan either. But we chat. I try to chat about these things because, and funny enough, that topic hit home with some people. They're like, they wanted to, that was some of the comments that they must have went to that point in the video and such. I say, like, I can't relate to that stuff. So I'm just like, Amber, you take the helm there, or I guess that's the right word, and talk about that. Because now, and the whole reason I came into this interview, I didn't want to start with that because we don't want to necessarily be like, well, hey, this person's this, whatever. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be trans. It could be anything. And I think what people, like, when you grow up, especially around people that have the older values, more conservative values, like, and we've all grown up around them. I know you have. I know a lot of us have. Not everybody has open parents, like open-minded parents, families. You grow up around this stuff, and you think, well, this is what normal is. And then the more and more you meet people, especially as you start getting older, you got to start questioning what is normal. are they even the people that you see that are like, you know, you think they're completely normal people, they could have like mental health issues, all that kind of stuff. You'd be surprised who's walking around that have like their problems and stuff. And you realize nobody's normal. And then we have this whole pandemic and stuff recently, and what that's done to people and such too. So we can't be too quick to judge. What you're saying basically is that when somebody's out there, and a lot of people who rip on people on social media are jealous of something. It's always something like, well, I can't do that. I need to bring them down. But you know who that's a reflection of? It's not I think it's really hard for somebody who's been, you know, bullied and criticized their entire lives. And then you get somebody out there going, well, you're this and that. And it's like, yeah, but you know why you're doing that? Because you're a shitty person. And you're ripping on somebody else, so they find something new to rip on. They're like, hi, it's like, look at you, you're bald. Like, people will say things, and they'll find anything. Some people will find anything to rip on someone for. Yes. I was surprised how many people will go after like people that are popular. Like, you're getting fat. Why do people have to say that to somebody? Like, why is this like something that has to be in the comment section? You know what I mean? Like, it's a wild world. I want to say thank you so much for taking on that topic. I know that's a topic that's never came up on the channel before, but I think that guests who want to talk about those parts of their lives on these kind of shows can. I don't have like, you know, a social awareness channel. I do want to say for anybody that does watch this stuff, it's like, just be socially aware of other people. Like, don't purposely be a dick. And you know what? That's the main thing. So there you go. Remember, everybody we all have problems. Some people do take more shit than others. Keep that in mind. Anyway, Amber, what's up next in the world of Amber Debellis in the guitar and music world? What do you think's up next? What's coming up? What are you working on? Before we go.
Well, I'm trying to like put up a Patreon. I'm trying to move into a new phase of my career where I get to focus on music, and hopefully that happens so that I'll be able to, you know, make some music for myself, you know, solo stuff. Working more on an upcoming Alien Book Club album, which will be more modern sounding, so still playing with genres, but more like Midwest emo and like electronic music and stuff like that. Like current genres people actually listen to. And then obviously just still making content, still doing stuff, and honestly just kind of seeing where stuff goes. Like recently I got endorsed by All Pedal. They're awesome, and like Archspire plays their pedals too, and that's so cool. And like,
you're an Archspire fan.
I'm just trying to like, yes, bro,
hell yeah,
of course.
Archspire is awesome.
Yes, woo. Anyways, yeah, and so I'm just trying to keep going and see what I can do and push myself out there, and no tons of specific plans, but yeah, that's what I'm up to. So, and again, thank you for having me. This was super fun, actually. So thank you.
I always try to make these things chill and fun and talk. Like you said, you were constant about talking. I have to watch that too. I think we balanced out pretty good. We got there. Anyway, guys, if you have not checked out Amber on Instagram, her links are below. I'm pretending like it's already done. I have to do it. This is reality. It's all. But anyway, links are below. You do have a YouTube as well, I believe. Do you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll link it all below. All right, just whatever links Amber wants below, we'll put them below. So make sure to check her out over there on Instagram. Awesome shredder and all that stuff too. Anyway, this is the end of the YouTube video, so make sure you hit the like button, subscribe button, notification bell, and all that fun stuff. And we will see you all in the next video. And one of these days I'll have to get you on the channel playing something. We'll get there. All right, now let's make sure this video is recorded. See you all later.